Let's talk to Mark calling in from California. Mark, you want to talk to us about, I think, morality, and actually, I'll let you ask the question here.
Yes, I was put in an orphanage when I was 3, and I was raised Roman Catholic, but and beaten for not believing. But I always considered, up until I just gave up on all of it, I considered myself a Zen Christian, which means I believe the universe is completely an illusion, and it's all my fault.
It's all your fault. I like that. That's good. I like that. Mark, why do you think it's all your fault? And if it is your fault, it's great so far. So keep it up.
Yeah, and here's an interesting question: if I have an exorcism and I fail to pay my exorcist, will I get repossessed?
Yeah,
you came out here to tell dad jokes, didn't you?
7 times or something.
No,
I think that's how it works.
Actually, I forgot. I should have told the call screener that I actually had what I would call a near-death experience about 6 months ago. Not in the typical manner that most people describe a near-death experience, because what I had, well, I had a heart attack. I'm 76 years old. I had a heart attack, and subsequently I had bypass surgery at the VA. And 2 nights after the surgery, my heart actually stopped beating and went into this fibrillation. Oh, wow. And I could actually feel it wiggling in my chest. And it was in the middle of the night. And they told me that only the lead surgeon on the surgical team could authorize a response. So, and they couldn't find him. So I laid in that bed, and I don't even know how this is possible, but I laid in that bed for an hour and a half with no heartbeat. And I was conscious. I could feel my heart wiggling. And this kind of necessitated my complete evaluation of my life, so to speak.
Like the light flashing in front of your eyes, kind of.
You know that expression? Yeah, just kind of thinking about, okay, now, and you've probably heard that expression, there are no atheists in foxholes.
Yes.
Yeah, once or twice.
Too many times.
Meaning, yeah, well, I'm here to tell you that's not true. I wasn't in a foxhole, but I was as near to death as I ever want to be. So I was kind of obligated to evaluate everything about my life, and I decided.
Sorry that it took that kind of an experience to get you to do that. Oh, sorry, Mark.
Yeah, and that's all right. It only confirmed my atheism, and I felt really at peace with the fact that when I kind of figured this out long ago, but unlike the movies or TV, when death occurs, there is no fanfare, there is no dramatic moment or music, or I don't turn my head and close my eyes kind of thing. Life just stops. And if I'm lucky, I won't be aware of it. I don't want to die a painful death. Woody Allen once said he didn't mind dying. He just didn't want to be there when it happened. And that's kind of my, and I'll give you one more quip, and that was from Voltaire. When he was on his deathbed, his religious friend said, "Okay, now are you going to denounce the devil?" And he said, "Well, this is no time to be making enemies." But
that's funny.
the one more serious point I wanted to make was that I have a number of religious friends who just won't leave it alone. I'm sure you know the kind of people I'm talking about, that every conversation involves praising God and all this kind of stuff. And in my experience, which is considerable, I have never met two people in my life that have the same religious views. Atheists all have the same, not religious views.
Well, we have the one thing in common, I think.
I've heard the expression very similar to that,
well,
Mark,
that's what I mean.
Every single person has their own theology. I've heard that as well. Yeah. Right.
And so this is what I've observed. If there is a deity, well, first of all, I would say, let me just finish that. If there is a deity, here we are, and this is what we're doing. If there is no deity, here we are, and this is what we're doing. And so I believe the way I respond to Christians is they demand that I or insist that I tell them what I believe. I say that I believe that religion attempts to answer two different questions. One is what I call the deity question. How did we get here? And is anybody in charge? And all that. The other question is what I call the morality question, which is how should we get along? How should we regard one another? And how can we do that? And the first question, the deity question, is totally moot. It doesn't matter whether there's a deity or not, because it won't change anything that we're doing. And how would we know the difference? It's all moot. And everybody has a completely unique viewpoint. So that is moot and does not matter. But the other question, how should we regard one another and how can we get along? That is a question I'm not only willing, but eager to address.
Sure.
And in my 76 years, there is one word that defines what I believe is the most important value in the universe, and that is kindness.
Not going to argue with
kindness
you.
Kindness
is. It's a pretty solid place to start.
I can't think of a situation where more kindness or kindness applied is not appropriate. I just can't. And unfortunately, I sometimes fall short of my goal.
I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be very kind to somebody if I catch them raping somebody. So,
but you're showing kindness by defending the victim. I think there's a way to always kind of bring kindness into the situation.
Sure.
Yeah. I think you're. I think Mark. Well, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think that you're on there. I can't disagree with much that you've said here. The only thing that I can think of is just that the two questions that get brought up, you say in your conversations so often, is the deity question and the morality question. The only thing I think of right away is that for them, those two questions are they're tied together.
Yeah.
So for them, they can't answer their morality question without their deity questions. And so I like the morality, the argument from morality or objective morality is probably one of the top arguments used by theists to talk about.
It sucks.
And for
morality is objective.
Yeah, and I think it's a good tactic, because I think that it's true that everybody who lives in society is concerned with how we ought to treat each other. So I think that I think there's a good reason why they use that argument so often. But unless they can prove to me their deity exists, I don't care. I don't care what their deity wants me to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right. And I don't care whether they can prove it or not. It doesn't matter. It won't change anything.
Hey, Mark,
they try to steer the question towards deity. I say, well, that doesn't matter. It's moot. I don't want to talk about it.
That's right.
There you go.
Here's a pro tip for you. They can't prove it.
Right.
I said there's a pro tip for you. They can't prove it.
But it's a kind of a non-confrontational way of putting it back on them. And I just wanted to say that I really like the show. The thing I like most about these shows, I
Canadians
love to hear intelligent people making sense. I just really enjoy that.
Thank you, Mark.
And
thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mark.
I will leave you with one more remark. I once asked a priest when I was a kid. I asked the priest, Father, I have a question about what happens after you die. And he said, well, I'll try to answer that as best I can. I said, who's going to get your car?
It's good.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for calling, Mark.
You just made my day. Thank you so much. Bye.
Have a great weekend, buddy.
You made my day. So thank you for calling.
Yeah, this was an enjoyable one.
Take care.
My pleasure. Bye.